Welcome to the Intuitive Eating Mama podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer D'Amato. I am an intuitive eating counselor and I'm also a mom to 4. This podcast is not just for mamas, it's for all women who are ready to ditch diets, ditch the scale and food guilt forever, and instead invite peace with food, increase their body trust, and confidence in all of her choices. I believe this show is going to shed some light on sneaky ways diet culture has infiltrated your thoughts, your family, and your well-being. No matter the episode, I want you to walk away feeling informed, inspired, and encouraged. So whether you're taking a walk, washing the dishes, or carting kids around, let's dive into the latest episode on the Intuitive Eating Mama podcast. So I really feel diet culture does a great job of making us feel isolated. I mean, diet culture is not about community. I like how it tries to create a sense of it, going to a meeting and standing on a scale and talking about your lack of weight loss or your weight loss or what you're struggling with because you can't find anything to freaking eat. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Weight Watchers. No, that's not community. I really believe so much of dieting leads to isolation, feeling alone. And part of that is because you feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel like a failure. That is not conducive to your overall health and well-being. It's not helpful. So I wanted to create some community around healing, community around your journey to feel more confident in your food choices, community when you're removing food guilt, when you're working on your body image. And I've done just that. My group coaching is, yes, the best. I mean, I love showing up there every single week with these women. I'm doing the coaching, the teaching, the guidance, helping those women work through the thoughts and struggles they're having in real time. But you know what else is happening in there? They're encouraging one another. Like literally cheering one another on. I talk about the head nod effect all the time and the power behind feeling like I'm not alone. The thoughts I've struggled with, the things I'm working through. And then what I notice is when one woman's getting coached, she's getting the support she needs, how much it speaks to the other women. They may not have come with that same struggle, that same issue, but they're gleaning the knowledge and the help and the support from that. It's amazing. Now, I've also created a whole other community, and this one is just a free community of women on that path, different places in their journey with intuitive eating and food freedom, but really wanting to not feel alone anymore, to feel supported. Now, this community is hosted on Facebook, and I always say, Facebook it can be a never-ending bottomless pit of groups. It's kind of like when you go to Chili's or Applebee's and you get that bottomless chips bowl. You might be part of like 300 groups on Facebook and you're like, I don't even know which ones anymore. I get it. I do like pinning my groups for that reason because I'm part of several as well. And I like having that right on my main page so I can just go to those top ones that really support me in my business, support me in my health journey, support me as a mom, like those things that I value very highly. So I have a group on Facebook. And if you're a listener and you're not in that group, I have something really special for you today. And even if you're in that group, you may have missed this training because it was quite some time ago. In this group, I like to show up for these women, answer questions, be a support, and it's where I host live trainings. It's where you can actually learn and glean and even have kind of that head nod effect in the comments with the other women. So this training I'm going to share with you in this episode is from that group. Before we get to that, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to come join us. I have a lot planned, and specifically in that group in May, I will be hosting a brand new training. Never been done before, completely free, and it will only be in my private group on Facebook. This is an intuitive eating group for women who are seeking food freedom. If that's for you, please join us in this group. So even while you're listening to this episode, if you're on Facebook, you can head to /groups/intuitive eating and food freedom, or just head into the show notes, click join group. There's just a few questions and I get to welcome you in there, and you won't miss any of the opportunities to get support, encouragement, and of course, all of my free trainings that are already there and the ones to come. Speaking of ones that are already there, let's hop into this live training I did all about hunger, principle 2 of intuitive eating. All right, if you're here, pop in the comments, say hi. I'm excited for tonight. I'm super tired from our hike yesterday, but really happy to be here. Hi, Courtney. How are you? So good to see you. In the comments here. I assume y'all can hear me okay. I just moved the mic a little closer. Hey, Christine, how are you? So glad you're here. Looking so bright in your little picture with that yellow on. Love that. Love that. Whew, it's been a wonderful weekend. I don't know if anyone had, today off from their, 9 to 5. I don't know anyone who works 9 to 5, but your job at all for President's Day. But I took most of today off and was gone this weekend celebrating my husband's birthday. And yesterday was a huge hike, and I'm exhausted still and really sore. But I've been so excited to hop on and to chat with you all tonight on Principle 2 of intuitive eating, talking about honoring your hunger. And I think I may have said this in the first live we did with Principle 1. There's no specific order to the principles, but I am just kind of gonna go through the flow of them as they're written in the intuitive eating book and workbook, and just kind of that general framework, though they don't have to be worked on in this order. So I just want to be clear. This is just kind of how I'm going through them. Makes it easy, especially if you're new to intuitive eating. I like this order, kind of just getting our bearings, getting questions, all of that comes up from focusing on these in this order. The other thing I want to say about tonight, when we're talking about honoring our hunger, that the focus on Principle 2 for tonight, for this conversation, is focusing on biological hunger, meaning, what your body is saying that it's born to do. But I want to be really clear that there's many reasons to eat. And we will dive into those more in future lives, or if questions come up about those in our Q&A. But being hungry is only one reason that we would eat. And that's our focus on that biological hunger piece. But I've had a lot of women, a lot of people in our group sharing about emotional eating, asking about cravings, and that these are really big concerns when it comes to eating. So I did take all of that. I created a 5-day event that I'll host here in our group. It's going to address emotional eating, using food to cope with our emotions. And it's usually, of course, our negative emotions, right, that we're talking about. And I'm also going to be talking about our cravings. It starts March 6th, which is a Sunday, and goes for those 5 days. I have the link here. If you haven't joined yet, registered for it, I'm just going to drop it right here in the comments. So if you're watching the replay, be sure to write replay in there. Like, you guys are so good at that. But you can also grab that link right there in the comments for that 5-day event. I actually was going to go public with it last week. It got so busy, and then we were gone for the weekend. So you guys are the only ones in this group. It's kind of the, one of the perks of being part of this group is you get to get all the goodies first. I haven't put it on Instagram yet, and I haven't put it out to my email list. I think they get it tomorrow. All right, let's talk about principle number 2, though, and talk about hunger. It's honestly one of my favorite topics. Hi, Steph. Oh, I just saw you on here, too. Hey, girl. I just dropped a link for the emotional eating event, which I think you knew about. And then we're going to talk, of course, about Principle 2. Um, I love talking about Principle 2, about honoring our hunger. I think it's partly because I like to help women no longer have negative thoughts or those negative emotions about being hungry. I talk with a lot of women who hate the feeling of being hungry. They've built this relationship with their body's biological hunger, that they want to avoid the feeling at all. So I really like helping women no longer have that, as something that is weighing on them, something that is taking their focus and their joy, really. And I think the other reason I like talking about it so much is honoring my own hunger really helped me rebuild trust with myself. I didn't realize how much I had let diets, dieting, focusing on weight loss dictate my hunger until it didn't anymore. I didn't realize how much dieting and focusing on weight loss, I had lost the ability to trust myself around food, trust myself that I knew what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. I really had this complete disconnection with myself because everything was about what the program, the plan, the diet said. I have this whole working thing in my head from this weekend, and I don't want to go on a super tangent, but I will tell you that the last two big hikes that I've done, I've had this working thought about intuitive eating during the hike and just kind of the process and how I really get this imagery when I'm hiking about this process and how hard and how much work it is and how we're constantly thinking of every step we're taking at first and all of that. And then I started thinking, because I knew I was talking about hunger today, how when I was completely immersed in diet culture, when my whole focus was weight loss, hiking for me and any form of exercise was always what I've earned to eat. So it used to be, because, I've hiked for years, it's not anything new. But my perspective on it when I was immersed in diet culture was, oh, if I'm doing this big hike, I'm tracking everything, I had my Apple Watch, which I don't even really wear anymore, but I had my Apple Watch and this is how many calories and this is how long and this is my heart rate. So this is what I've earned to eat. I can actually go eat all this food now that I wouldn't allow myself to have just because I did this. And I think, gosh, it really, I still enjoyed the hikes. I did all these, amazing hikes, but my whole focus was on what I could eat. Oh, it just, again, I'm going on a tangent. I know I am, so I don't want to lose focus here. We're here to talk about Principle 2, but it really had me thinking, and I wanted to share that with you. And I have something I'm brewing in my head about it, hiking and intuitive eating. So there we go. If you're interested, I don't know if you're podcast listeners already. If you haven't, though, I do have a series. I really am just finishing up on hunger. So, episode 118 is there to help you reconnect with your body's hunger. I share about the Food and Feelings Journal in that episode. I have a link to that. I may stick that here. Oh, there was a comment there and then it just disappeared. Courtney, I think it was yours. Maybe it's gone now. Anyway, I'm going to link the journal in here as well. This is such a good starting place for you when it comes to reconnecting with your body's biological signals. Episode 119 is about being hangry. And if you've ever experienced being hangry, letting yourself get to that point of painful hunger, episode 119 is really good. Episode 120 is about listening to what your body is telling you and giving you kind of that body scan method I use. And tomorrow, you want to probably mark this one. Episode 121 is about emotional eating. If you've been just swirling with thoughts about emotional eating when it comes to your hunger, episode 121's focus is emotional eating. So, hunger. Like I said at the beginning, first and foremost, it is a natural biological cue that our body sends out to us. However, I don't think most people think about hunger that way. Like, oh, this is just a natural thing that happens. I think most people, older people, my kids are so different. They don't think like this at all. But most people associate hunger actually with being hangry. So that aggressive, ravenous, feeling like I have to eat now. Oh, Courtney, one of the twins is grabbing my phone and sent an emoji. Well, hi, little one. That's so cute. That's so cute. They want to learn about this hunger. They're like, wait a minute, this is so natural for us, right? Like I was saying, even at the beginning, I think a lot of people associate hunger with hangry, with the aggressive form, right? Feeling like, oh my gosh, I better eat because I haven't eaten in so long. It's really no wonder people have a distaste. There's going to be puns all over the place. I feel like how many people like want to avoid the feeling, right? Because they've been conditioned with this feeling of aggressive hunger. You may be familiar with a basic hunger scale. So, if you just look at that, we'll just call like a 0 to 10, 1 to 10 scale, whatever, that kind of basic scale. So hangry is your 10, right? Aggressive hunger is a 10. Some people feel angry, frustrated. I know some have shared like that shaky feeling, just like I don't feel good at all. Like literally their body could be shaking. I mean, obviously we could, that kind of level could get even serious, right? To passing out and all of that. But I'm talking where you are just, your mood has shifted, your body's responding, you're taking it out on everyone. I would say it's the version of me nobody wants to be around. There are lots of cues, lots of things that your body is doing. There's lots of things it's sending us well before a level 10. Unfortunately, over time, we've created this habit of ignoring them, like dismissing them. If you've ever been on a diet, you probably know what that feeling is like, to ignore when your stomach grumbles, right? To ignore when you start thinking, oh, gosh, I'm feeling a little hungry. Like, nope, nope, can't yet. If you've ever been on a diet, you've created this habit of ignoring them. Or hunger is attached to fear or anxiety. So we don't notice those gentle cues. I love that. Like gentle, like they're not, maybe like some of them are a whisper. I feel like sometimes it whispers, but sometimes it just talks like, hey, Jen, probably time to get something to eat. We ignore that one till it's like, you better go get something. Oh my gosh. So the ones that come before, the gentle, the talking, maybe a little whisper, you could get that hollow feeling, right, in your stomach. Like it literally feels like it's empty. Some people notice a little lightheadedness, not pass out. I'm talking just a little like not quite there, or like brain fog. You could have, and not everyone does, get like a grumbling sound, gurgly stuff going on. I think a lot of people think that's what they're waiting for. And if they don't experience that, they're not experiencing hunger, which is not true, because not everybody gets the gurgle grumble. Some people experience other cues. One important cue that I think even goes like unnoticed or unrecognized is being interested in food. Like literally your thoughts become more and more focused on food. You might be going about your day doing things and busy, and then you just start thinking about food and you can't let it go. That is actually your body speaking to you, being like, hey, by the way, probably should get something to eat soon, right? Again, if we've been immersed in diet culture, if we've been focused on dieting for the pursuit of weight loss, because why else does anyone diet, right? They're pursuing shrinking the size of their body. Diet culture teaches us that we cannot trust our body. So even if you feel or you notice, these signals, we tell ourselves what? not time to eat. Nope, I can't do that yet. I gotta wait. I just had something. We even think there's something wrong with us if we're hungry outside of whatever rules that we're following, especially if you're following these diet rules, air quotes everywhere. If you break those rules, you feel like, well, there's something wrong with me. I just ate. How can I possibly be hungry? Well, let's drop some truths then on that. Hunger varies each day. I mean, to me, that was probably the best lesson I had to learn. Hunger varies each day. Your hunger can vary based on factors like the amount of activity that you've done. It's not every day I go out hiking. I surely don't. I probably should hike more if I don't want to feel like I'm dying on a hike. But if you're doing all this extra activity, your body's going to need more energy. Where do we get energy from? We get it from food. So if I do more activity, I'm probably going to need more food that day. Your hunger can be affected by the amount of sleep you've had, or I should say, not had. Your hunger can vary based on your stress level. And get this one, your hunger varies between individuals, between people. We get in this comparison place. We get in a comparison place with the people within our home. We get in a comparison place with the people in our work circle, in our girlfriend, go out and have drinks and happy hour, whatever circle, right? We get in this comparison with other family members. We get in this comparison and thinking, they're eating a lot more than me. They're not eating as much as me. I'm not eating as much as them. I'm eating way more than that. And we get in this comparison. Hunger varies greatly between individuals. And I want to just be very, very clear. I think if you're part of this group, you know that I am aligned with HAES, which is health at every size. The size of someone's body, you can have two people who their bodies are completely the same, right? They look the same. Maybe they're the same weight, height, all of that. Their hunger can vary. Everyone's hunger can be different. And again, it has all these other factors that play into it. I'm going to take a sip of water. I wrote this note down. I think you guys know I take notes because I'm like, what do I want to share? What do I want to share? This one. Hunger keeps us alive. Thank goodness. Right? If we're talking just in that basic biological principle of we need this energy to live, right? Where do we get energy from? We get energy from food. You may not know this, but you may, but I'm going to say it for those just who don't, that calories, that's actually a form of energy, right? So we talk about calories, and diet culture, of course, has twisted and turned that and made it all a big mess. But that calories are energy. It's how we measure energy is in calories. So we need the calories to have the energy to live. Okay, so if that, for some needed to hear that, for others you're like, good, I know that, it just confirmed, right? That this is what energy is, where it comes from. Hunger keeps us alive. Diet culture, the weight loss industry, any program, I don't care what it is. In diet culture, we're taught that if we don't control our hunger, then we are lacking self-control. We have a willpower problem. We are taught that we need to overcome our hunger instead of trust it. That's the messaging you're getting. Again, I don't care what program it is the same message. The same message. You need to overcome your hunger. And so you could put the bucket of a craving right in that. You need to overcome that because that what is that? It's a hunger for a specific type of food. And you're told, no, that doesn't fit in your plan. That doesn't fit in this process. You cannot have this. So you need to overcome it. No wonder we have a whole population of people who don't trust themselves around food and believe, well, I need somebody else. I need this program. I need this diet, this plan to tell me what, when, how much to eat. Now, I've been thinking about this. I think we definitely have two schools of thought going on right now that are really big in diet culture. You have keto, which of course is extremely restrictive, very concerning because of what we're seeing. And I don't know what you know about it, but I will tell you, if you're epileptic, I think this is a great way to eat. If you're not, I'd be concerned. You're cutting out carbohydrates and your brain is suffering. And that's just one area, But again, so what if you have that desire, that need to eat something outside of that keto plan? You're told you need to overcome this. Don't trust that craving. Don't trust that you want to sit and enjoy that piece of cake, at your kiddo's birthday party, or, your friends really want to go out to an Italian restaurant and you are a wreck about what to eat. Christine says, been there, done that. Yeah. The other one that's really big right now is intermittent fasting. People will tell you repeatedly it's not a diet. It is absolutely a diet. It's manipulating the time you eat. And actually, what we're starting to see is that this is developing binge eating disorder. Talk about being taught you need to overcome your hunger, that you can't trust that you are hungry outside this window of eating. I'm very, very concerned with what we're seeing with intermittent fasting. Let me just be very clear to all of you. Christine says did that too. Yeah, Christine, you and I could probably raise our hands, right? So much with all of this. I know it so well is, that I was going to say something about intermittent fasting. I probably go off on intermittent fasting. That's what I was going to say, that what people are not realizing is when you're sleeping, it don't matter the hours. I mean, I have a recommended time. I think you should be getting at least 7. More would be great. But for the time you stop eating at night to the time you eat in the morning because you're sleeping, you are already fasting. And then you think about that, these people that are intermittent fasting, right? We're spreading this window even further. Your body's already fasting. It fasts every single night, unless you're getting up and eating in the middle of the night. I have had a client do that. I will tell you, I have actually coached a client through that, and she stopped eating in the middle of the night. You know why? She wasn't honoring her hunger. She literally was like, I need to eat less, I need to eat less, I need to eat less. She was so hungry, she would wake up in the middle of the night and eat. When she started honoring her hunger, when she started seeing that as a top priority, she literally stopped getting up in the middle of the night. She was blown away. She was an older woman. It had been this habit she had created, but it was because she was so restrictive during the day. I can't eat. I should be eating less. Well, her body was going to make up for that food. That's the amazing thing. Hunger keeps us alive. Your body is going to make up for the energy it's lacking one way or another. It's going to hit a breaking point. And some people, that cycle happens. My clients have heard this all the time. Like, it can happen daily. It can happen, in weeks. It can happen in months, but it's going to happen. It's going to come back around and say, yep, and now we're going to eat it all. So if you've been immersed in diet culture, if you've dieted, I really say if you've even done one diet, it can take time to rebuild that trust with yourself. I know last week in our Q&A on Thursday, one of the questions was, how long things took. And it was a lot of rebuilding trust. That first 6 months to a year was rebuilding trust, breaking down the rules I had been living by, some, since I was a kid and cleared my plate and couldn't waste and all. Yes, I was breaking down some of that. I was also breaking down all of the dieting rules I had been living by and slowly rebuilding trust with myself. I had kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but I think it's important to note that intuitive eating teaches that, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. It doesn't really capture the fullness or the truth of the principle honoring your hunger, right? Like it's so simple. It really is that simple, but it's also so complex. That simplified explanation of, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, could imply that the only time you can or should, if any of my clients on here, they know, like, oh my gosh, should, like, that's a no-go for me. Okay, so it implies that the only time you can or should eat is when you are hungry. If that's a way our brain starts thinking, right, it can quickly just become another rule if we're thinking that way. If we believe I can or should only eat when I'm hungry, this can become another rule. And intuitive eating does not have rules. It has principles, it has guidelines that outline your relationship with food. There are different types of hunger. There are different kinds of hunger, and all of them are valid. I go pretty deep depending on and into this kind of work, the types of hunger, the messages of hunger with my clients. We really get into this. But for here, I'll tell you that intuitive eating really helps heighten our awareness of what our body needs. Like that to me is so powerful. It's really telling us, like, hey, I didn't realize this until I started paying attention to it. I'm increasing my awareness around it. It helps us use critical thinking, and it helps us make decisions that really are best for us. There's these guiding principles, but you are an individual. I am an individual. And like I said at the beginning, hunger varies between individuals, right? Hunger varies from day to day. So what is best for you is what's best for you. When you're not coming from the shoulds and the I have to do it this way, there's a rule I'm supposed to be following. If guilt and shame are involved in punishment and in criticism and judgment of self, you're probably following that rule. I would even say go back to the principle one. Where is diet mentality coming in? What is coming up for you? When it comes to hunger, it does involve some level of mindfulness. And so for some to be mindful, because there is a whole other school of thought of mindful eating. And intuitive eating brings in the beautiful part of mindfulness and the beautiful part of mindful eating, where some people, that just means they need to slow down. They need to check in with themselves. Y'all, I can feel it. Like I'm here. I'm just, my words. For some people, the mindfulness comes in when we slow down. Part of the healing journey, the slowing down is to, first of all, show your body that honor and respect that you want to. It's also to start heightening that awareness around foods. Do I like this? Does it taste good? What do I like about it? So often we eat foods that we don't even enjoy because they've been on the plan, they're allowed, they're healthy. And really being able to check in with myself of, is this what I really want? Is this enjoyable? Would I make this again? I shared a practice of body scanning. I was telling you at the beginning, it's episode 120. It can be really helpful if you're like, well, I want to have that heightened awareness. I want to be more present with what I'm noticing, how I'm feeling, what it is my body wants. I actually shared a body scan method in that episode. So if that's something you'd like to invite in, I would encourage you to go listen to episode 120. I'm going to close this up because I think this is a great way to really look at honoring your hunger as a form of self-care. I think that's the opposite of what diet culture says, what the weight loss industry is teaching you or has taught you. Honoring your hunger is a form of self-care. And I think I've actually had clients where that reminder in it of itself has been really helpful. I'm really showing myself how much I care for my body, how much I appreciate it, how much respect I have for it, how grateful I am to have one by honoring my hunger. So I want to just leave you with that thought that honoring your hunger is a form of self-care. I think that's a beautiful way, beautiful way. All right, if you loved that training and that kind of just interaction in real time and just being with me, I would love to have you join us in the Facebook group. Again, if you look on Facebook under groups/intuitive eating and food freedom, you will find me, but you'll also find me in the show notes. Come join us in there. I have so many great things already there for you. And of course, this never before training that I'm going to be doing in May. Can't wait to welcome you in.